Humanity has lost. The legendary Cygnus Knights are gone. The resistance has fallen. The Cross Hunters, every great adventurer, and even the legendary 6 heroes have all been wiped out. Standing alone against the apocalypse is the last surviving adventurer, Paume. With nothing left to lose, he launches one final assault against Gornhale, the king of dragons. After an exhausting battle, he manages to sever one of the dragon's massive heads. For a brief moment, it looks like victory is possible. Then the impossible happens. The severed head regenerates instantly. Every sacrifice, every fallen comrade, Philip, Jaden, Alexis, Amit, all of it feels meaningless. Before Paume can react, Gornhale unleashes a devastating blast that completely overwhelms him. As death closes in, Paume makes one final wish. If only he had one more chance. Instead of darkness, he wakes with a gasp. Ice-cold water splashes across his face as a slave merchant orders him to get up. Looking around, Paume freezes. He's no longer on the battlefield. He's back 6 years in the past, on the very day he was sold as a disposable bait slave to the Gaffer Merchant Union. For anyone else, it would be a nightmare. For Paume, it's the opportunity he's been praying for. When he's thrown into his very first dungeon as living bait, everyone expects him to die. Instead, Paume calmly picks up a telekinesis ring, combines it with fire arrow magic and the combat skills he mastered in his previous life, and completely turns the tables. The monsters fall one after another. Then the adventurers who plan to sacrifice him become his next targets. By the time the battle ends, every enemy is dead. And to the absolute shock of the Merchant Union, the slave they send away to die walks calmly back through their gates on his own. His second life has only just begun. The impossible happened. A slave returned from a dungeon alone. Word spreads through the Gaffer Merchant Union almost instantly. A disposable bait slave not only survived a massacre, he even awakened the first circle. That single achievement is enough to catch the attention of the union's executives. Soon, Paume is summoned to meet Abby's, the right-hand man of Executive Rakan. Most people in his position would be grateful just to stay alive. Paume isn't. Years ago, he sold himself into slavery to pay for medicine that couldn't save his father. That decision left him trapped under a debt of 1 million meso. This time, he refuses to stay a slave. Abby's offers him the position of an F-rank adventurer, but Paume immediately rejects it. He wants E rank. The room falls silent. A former slave demanding a higher rank is unheard of, but Paume calmly explains that ordinary adventurers only bring back loot. He brings back something far more valuable: information. His ability to survive impossible dungeons makes him worth far more than any average hunter. Rather than argue, Abby's decides to test him. He assigns Paume to one of the Union's deadliest dungeons, a place where 12 different parties have already lost their lives. Inside, Paume joins a veteran team led by the tank chef. At first, they act friendly. Too friendly. During dinner, they secretly mix a deadly sleeping herb into his food, planning to kill him after he loses consciousness and steal his valuable fire arrow staff. Unfortunately for them, Paume saw this betrayal 6 years ago. Without anyone noticing, he uses his telekinesis to avoid eating the poisoned meal. Then he makes his move. With a burst of fire, he sets the campsite ablaze. The panicked adventurers run straight into the dungeon's true nightmare: a gigantic gold slime. Unlike ordinary slimes, this monster devours equipment, growing stronger with every item it consumes. Moments later, it begins raining down devastating acid arrows almost without pause. The veteran party is completely overwhelmed, but Paume doesn't panic. In his previous life, he earned the title of the world's greatest telekinetic. Every angle, every movement, every weakness, he already knows them. Waiting for the perfect opening, Paume unleashes a precise attack that pierces the gold slime's hidden core in a single strike. As the monster collapses, he calmly claims its precious mana stone for himself. His strength continues to grow. And this is only the beginning. Paume returns from another impossible mission. Alone. Again. Even Abby's can't hide his surprise. Not only did Paume defeat the legendary gold slime, but he also absorbed its mana stone and advanced to the second circle. At this rate, calling him an ordinary adventurer would be an insult. To keep him under the Gaffer Merchant Union's banner, Abies immediately promotes him to D rank, granting him benefits normally reserved for C rank adventurers. But Paume isn't interested in titles. He knows the future, and he knows one man who cannot be left behind. His name is Debois. At first glance, Debois is nothing more than a debt-ridden mercenary desperately trying to save his younger sister, who's suffering from the deadly black blood disease. But Paume knows the truth. One day, Debois will become the only disciple accepted by the legendary polearm hero, Eren. Without hesitation, Paume pays off Debois' 1 million meso debt and recruits him into his party. Then he gives Debois an order that makes no sense. Throw away the longsword. Pick up a polearm instead. Although Debois doesn't understand why, he trusts Paume. That single decision changes his destiny forever. The new duo immediately enters an 8-person red gate. What normally requires an entire squad, the two of them clear with ease. Paume's reputation explodes once again. This time, even the Supreme Executive Rakan takes notice. Curious about the man everyone is talking about, Rakan personally arranges a special evaluation. Paume and Debois are thrown into a competitive gate alongside several elite veteran parties. The experienced hunters rush ahead, confident they'll claim the rewards first. Paume does the exact opposite. Instead of chasing the boss, he quietly searches for the escape gate. To everyone else, it looks like cowardice. In reality, it's preparation. Moments later, terrified screams echo through the dungeon. The strongest veteran party, led by Dolan, is completely wiped out by the dungeon's true ruler, the mad poisonous mushroom. The surviving adventurers panic and rush toward the exit. But Paume doesn't move. He calmly steps forward. He's been waiting for this moment. Facing the terrifying boss alone, Paume unveils a spell unlike anything this world has ever seen. Inspired by firearms from his previous life, he spins multiple fire arrows at incredible speed using telekinesis. The compressed magic drills through the air like a bullet. Revolver. A completely original technique capable of piercing even the mad poisonous mushroom's overwhelming defenses. The battle has only just begun. The battle is over. The terrifying swamp monster has finally fallen. With another impossible victory under their belts, Paume and Debois return to Gaffer as heroes. By now, no one dares to underestimate the former bait slave. Even Supreme Executive Rakan is forced to acknowledge his strength. But this time, the request is unlike anything before. Rakan wants Paume to join the infamous 100-man gate raid, a massive expedition where only the strongest adventurers have any hope of surviving. Paume already knows how this raid ends. Countless hunters will lose their lives. Without hesitation, he names his price. 5 million mesos per person. 10 million for both him and Debois. The room falls silent. Even Abies is stunned. 10 million mesos is the kind of payment reserved for elite 3rd and 4th circle adventurers. There's no way a newly promoted D rank should be asking for that much. But before anyone can reject the offer, Rakan quietly produces a confidential document. Its contents change the atmosphere instantly. The report concerns a mysterious figure known only as Dark Lord Jean. As Abies reads through the classified information, he finally understands. The 100-man gate isn't just another dungeon raid. Something much bigger is already unfolding behind the scenes. A war is coming, and if Paume truly knows how to survive what's ahead, then 10 million mesos is a small price to pay. Without another word, Rakan accepts the deal. As Gaffer's only representatives, Paume and Debois prepare to enter the most dangerous raid of their lives. But waiting beyond the gate is a battle that will change the future forever. The 100-man gate wasn't a disaster. It was a massacre. As the surviving adventurers struggle to escape the ribbon pig stampede, a horrifying truth begins to surface. This wasn't an accident. Someone planned it. Hidden among the expedition are followers of the Black Mage, working from the shadows to ensure that no one leaves the gate alive. One of the traitors, a man named William, secretly orchestrates the chaos, triggering the stampede and guiding the explorers straight into carefully prepared death traps. Every move, every ambush, every casualty was part of the plan from the very beginning. By the time the gate finally closes, the outcome is beyond devastating. One merchant union after another is wiped off the map. Entire expeditions disappear without a trace. The The 100-man raid becomes one of the deadliest tragedies in recent history. And because gates erase everything inside once they close, there is no evidence, no bodies, no proof that the Black Mage's followers were ever involved. Out of the entire expedition, only 3 members of the Gaffer Merchant Union managed to escape alive. Instead of being praised, the survivors become the center of suspicion. How did such a small group survive when everyone else was annihilated? Were they simply lucky, or were they somehow responsible? As rumors begin to spread, Paume quietly watches from the shadows. He knows the truth. The real enemy hasn't revealed itself yet, and this conspiracy is only the beginning of a much larger war. The raid is over. The survivors have returned. But the greatest threat was never the monsters inside the gate. A hidden enemy has already begun moving in the shadows, and Paume may be the only person capable of stopping what's coming next. Can he change the future before another tragedy unfolds? We'll find out in the next chapter. If you enjoyed this recap, be sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next episode. I'll see you in the next one.